Hi guys, we're looking at the last two problems of section 8.6, and the concept here is to factor a quadratic expression when there is a leading term. So let's go. Here we have the A, B, and C. So we need to find two numbers whose product is going to be 12 times negative 8, which is negative 96. And whose sum equals 20. All right. So are there numbers that satisfy this? Yes, there are, which is, so if you're not too sure, okay, how do I get two numbers whose product is negative 96? What I suggest is you can try, say, 2 times. So 2 times 48. Start going from the least number. Of course, 1 times 96, 2 times 48, and the 48 is positive, 2 should be negative. You can do 3, negative 3 times 32, right? But these don't add up to give you 20. So this is not our option. Same way this is not an option. Then let's go to 4. So negative 4 times 24. Yes, that gives you negative 96. Now, if you have trouble with this, you got to make sure you think through every single number, okay? You don't need to use a calculator, but you need to go through every single number and see what multiplies to give you that negative 96, and sum is 20. So now, since we found this to be our two numbers, let's go rewrite this. So rewrite. So the two numbers are negative 4 and 24. So let's go over here. 12p squared. I'll do plus 24p minus 4p minus 8. As I told you, you can write it in any order. It will all end up being the same at the end, all right? So what did I do here? I rewrote the 20. Now, next, what's the next step? Yes, you're right. So group it into 2's, and you will end up getting, so between 12p squared and 24p, the common factor is going to be 12p. So you'll be left with p plus 2. All right. Now you have negative 4p and negative 8. The greatest common factor is, yes, negative 4. That leaves you with p plus 2. So as I told you, make sure you're just quickly multiplying and seeing if you get that previous again. Or if not, you made a mistake. And same way, if these two factors are not the same, then that means you have made a mistake. So please make sure you're paying attention to all that. So now, so what did I do here? I group and factor. Group and factor them. Now we can move on to the next step. So we see p plus 2, so pull that out. So if this guy is gone, you're left with 12p minus, so this is gone, 4. All right, so there you go. You have got this answer. But now, if you notice, like this is okay, this is an acceptable answer, but is it simplified? Well, it's not, because p plus 2, you see, that's all set. Whereas 12p minus 4, do you realize I could factor that? There is a common factor, and yes, the common factor is 4. So now we can write this as p plus 2. So between 12 and 4, the common factor is 4. So factor out a 4. That leaves you with 3p minus 1. Okay, so now it looks p plus 2, 4, 3p, but let's rearrange it to give 4. We always put the constant up front. P plus 2 times 3p minus 1. So there you go. So this is the most simplified form. And if you do this, yes, you love math. Okay, if you leave it like that, you're like, okay. So I hope you understand. You can leave. This is what is the most recommended answer. This is okay, you're right, but make sure you try to simplify it until the end. All right. So if you've not understood, please pause the video, go back and watch one more time. In the notes that I gave you, I've just stopped with this, but in the video I'm trying to explain it till the end. All right. So let's move on to the last problem of this section. I already wrote something over there. Let's go. And now again, in this problem, if you notice, between 9, 3, and negative 30, there is a common factor of 3. So you could do that and you will end up getting the same answer. All right. But if you're like, I don't want to do that, let's do the same A, B, C. Right? So we need to find two numbers whose product is negative 270 and sum is positive 3. And now how do I do that? These numbers are big numbers, so you have to make sure, okay, I go through every single one of them. So say 2. 2 times, if I have 2 times, what's going to go? 130. All right, 135. So that obviously is not going to be one of the answers. Then 3. 3 times negative 90. So these two multiply to give you negative 270, but they don't add to give you 3. So this is not my option. This is not my option. 4, does it go in 4? No. 5, yes. Let's see. So 5 times negative, so 5, 54. I'm not getting it. And then, so these numbers are huge, right? So let's see what we can do. 6, we can do that. 6 times, and you can keep multiplying what you get. So 6 times, let's see if we get that. 6 times 4 is 24, 45. Okay, 6 times negative 45. And now that doesn't add to give you. So what we can do is, but I noticed this. 6 times, this can be written as 9 times 5. I'm just breaking it down to see how I can get these numbers a different way. All right. Now this can be broken down as 3 times 2, then 3 times 3, and then 5. So since it's a big number, I noticed something. See? 3 times 2 times 3. That gives me 18. And 3 and 5 gives me 15. So imagine if I had to go through every single number, it would have taken time, right? So you can think how else I can break this down. Or if you know 15 tables, that's awesome. You will get the answer right away, right? So 18 times 5. And then if you see 18 would be positive and 15 has to be negative. And when I add them, I get the sum to be 3. Okay, so if this part is really confusing, pause, take a pencil, paper, and then redo the entire thing, and you will know it. Don't just start with a calculator, just try to do it by yourself, all right? So the two numbers are 18 and negative 15. So now let's go. 9r squared plus 18r minus 15r. Minus 15r minus 30. So now again group and factor. When I group this, I get 9r times r plus 2 minus 15 times r plus 2. So now you notice that r plus 2 and r plus 2 are the same. So factor that out. That leaves you with 9r minus 15. Okay, so yes, you're done. But if you notice the 9r and 15 you have, a common factor of 3. So therefore, r plus 2, factor out at 3, that'll leave you with 3r minus 5. Rearrange it to get your final answer as this. All right, so I hope you were able to understand. So if you're not able to split it, make sure you go through every single number. Now, I want to show you something. If another way, okay, this is one way to do it. So this is all done. So this is the final answer. All right. Now, if you had to factor out a 3 at this step, okay, this is one way to do it. But if I did it the other way, if I factor out a 3, you'll end up getting 3r squared plus r minus 10, right? See, now the 3 can stay. So now you can do the same sum and product for this part over here. So you'll end up getting two numbers whose product, so this is your A, and then B is 1. B will become 1 and C is negative 10. So you need to find two numbers whose product is negative 30 and whose sum is 1. See, now that's easy because product is negative 30 and sum is 1. The numbers are 6 and negative 5. So I'll show you what you do. So you'll end up getting 3r squared plus 6r minus 5r minus 10, right? So bring down the 3, factor this. So you have to be really careful about putting parentheses. So this will be 3r times r plus 2 minus 5 times r plus 2. See what I'm doing? So all I did was kept the 3, but then I'm dealing with this. So forget about this part. Just look at the inner parentheses. And now bring down the 3. So if you notice, that's r plus 2 and r plus 2. So you can factor that out. And that leaves you with 3r minus 5. So do you notice that these two are the same answers? So this first method just did the sum and product, right? And the second method factored out a common factor and you'll end up getting the same answer, all right? So whichever you prefer, do it. But in this method, you're dealing with small numbers, okay, smaller numbers. And here, it's just that you have bigger numbers and you need to make sure. So this one will have bigger numbers. And you need to make sure you go through which numbers will give you the product and sum. Okay, so think about it. If you don't understand, like pause, go back and watch. Otherwise, email me and I'm happy to explain.